Number 32 from the Masters of Cinema collection is The Island of Lost Souls. Almost said Dr. Moreau, because basically that's what it is. Based on H.G. Wells' novel, this basically tells the story of Edward, a man that's shipwrecked at the start. He gets picked up. It just so happens the ship that picks up is dropping off a load of animals to this mysterious Dr. Moreau on this uncharted island. And along with Montgomery, basically Moreau's chief person in charge of all these operations, he ends up on this island with this strange and elusive, rather weird doctor who, as it transpires, has been doing weird experiments, turning animals into human-like creatures. And with Edward there, he sees an opportunity to try a little experiment. Now, of course, Edward is shocked at what's going on, terrified at these creatures that are there, as Moreau becomes a kind of godlike figure who does weird and terrible things because he can. And it's a movie that is as scary now as it probably was back in the early 30s when it came out, because you get this wonderful imagery and you get the idea of this Moreau, a man who is left unchecked, a man who is probably extremely smart, a genius who's able to create and do things, and he does so without any kind of repercussions or thoughts of should he be doing what he's doing. And that's what the movie kind of tackles. It tackles the idea of this scientist left to do what he wants to do, and it tackles the idea of, are these things now human? Do they have souls? Are they people? Are they somewhere in between? Do they have rights? And this God complex that Moreau has created for himself. And in a brisk 70-minute movie, it crams so much into it and creates a really thought-provoking, interesting and terrifying tale of just sheer horror. But it's not the surface kind of horror. It's not the horror of the creatures, which are scary. The makeup is terrific. They look weird and wacky and disfigured and mismatch of creatures and horrible. But it's more about the nature of Moreau, who looks typical. He looks like just a typical guy who has these weird machinations, these ideas of creating things just cause he can, because he wants to be the top of the food chain. He is a god to these people. He delivers these laws. He gives them sermons from up upon a mound, telling them the laws of what they can and cannot do. And it's just a wonderful sort of character study of a man who doesn't take into effect anybody else round about him, their ideas, what they want. He just tells them what's happening or does things without even asking for permission, as he does with Edward. We get Ruth, his fiancée, who's trying to track him down because he's kind of went missing after this ship has went down, and you get the usual kind of typical closure to this. But my goodness, this is just an all-encompassing, deeply affecting movie that just hooked me from start to finish. Looks amazing, has a really interesting story, has real mood and atmosphere, and a deep substance below the surface story. Well worth checking out. One of the sort of best ones that I've discovered recently that I was just captivated from start to finish. I loved the character design, the staging, the production value, the weird place that they lived in. I loved Charles Laughton's performance of Dr. Moreau, which was just creepy and strange and weird and wonderful and just unusual. You could really see him just thinking behind the scenes of what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. Terrifically well staged. Number 33 in the Masters of Cinema collection is an essential pickup if you haven't seen it. Wonderful movie, really short, really impactful, highly recommended.